Alrighty, you can't really see me that well, I don't think, but that's okay. What I want to talk about today is why we have chosen, or one of the reasons that we've chosen to live in a bus over purchasing a house and having a mortgage for the rest of our lives. So real simple, I just want to break down some figures, really simple stuff. Hopefully, you know, if you're looking for an alternative way of living, this may be some encouragement to you, but it's really just to highlight, you know, one of the main reasons that we live the life that we do. So here we go. What I want to talk about is basically, I remember having a conversation with my accountant several years ago, and she's like, oh, you need to buy a house so you have an asset. And I was like, are you sure a house is an asset and not a liability? Because to me, assets are things that either retain their value or will increase in value over time, that are not costing you, I would say, not too much to maintain, and if it is costing you to maintain, that you know you're always going to get a higher return on the sale of that asset. So I want to talk about houses. I've always been of the mind that a house, depending on your position financially in life, that a house can become a liability. And I will show you why I've come to this conclusion. This is not super tricky maths, it's just really simple. And I know there's probably some people out there, you whiz-bang property people, and you know, you might find some fault in this, I don't know. But if you do, I'd love to hear from you. Anyway, so what I want to start with is we could go straight for Auckland houses. So this is about New Zealand housing, purchasing a house in New Zealand versus living in a bus. I know Auckland prices, I think the average house is, the 3-bedroom house is around $1 million at the moment. So I'm going to be a little bit gentler and I'm going to go for the capital of New Zealand, which is Wellington. And from my last piece of research, which would be maybe 3 months ago now, the average house price in Wellington, so house price, hope you can see this, excuse my writing, in Wellington, excuse my messy writing, is actually at the moment around 600,000. Okay, so that's sort of for an average 3-bedroom house in Wellington at the moment. So not as bad as Auckland, and I am aware that there are places around New Zealand where it is cheaper. So if you think about that, if you go to an online mortgage calculator, just, you know, one of the ones the banks provide on their websites, you'll find that they work most mortgages out over a 30-year period. Okay, so that's how long period, please forgive my spelling if it's wrong. And so if you punch in a house for $600,000 on a 30-year mortgage, which is, I think, what sort of most people between 15 to 30 years. Again, this comes down to your financial position in life. That means on that you would simply be paying, and around, I think it works out at about $3,500 a month, which is, let me see, 800, and I've got this here, $1,395 per week. So that's what you would be paying on your mortgage per week. So I think for most people starting out in life, that's quite a lot of money to be forking out on a weekly basis. And the thing is, most, like at the moment, you'd be sort of calculating your interest would be, hopefully you can still read this down here, is calculated at about 5.7% currently. Okay, so you'd be paying $813.95 a week, or $3,500 a month, depending how you set up your mortgage. This is just a really basic overview. Your interest rate, you're looking around 5.7%. So on a house that's $600,000, based on that interest rate, you would be paying, I'm just going to rub this line off because I think you might not be able to see if I write any lower. The interest that you would pay over that 30-year mortgage would be $670,000. So that's just the interest on top of your $600,000. And let's not forget though, you're going to need a deposit to borrow this money. Can we read that? It's a bit low. I might go up. Let's do it up here. We know we're looking at an average house price in Wellington. So your deposit on 20% initial outlay, you would need $120,000 just to get into the property market in Wellington based on the average house price currently. If you want to look at alternative living options, $120,000, you would be able to do about 4 tiny house builds. So unless you're going to get a return of $1.3 million on the sale of your house, you are not going to recover costs. Now, the other thing that you need to think about on top of this is you're going, oh, well, that's not so bad, it's still an asset. But what about maintenance? You know, what if your house needs a paint? You know, we've talked to, I think, 2 people recently that need to replace their roofs. You know, and then you've got things like maintenance covers like doing your house, painting your house, fixing your roof, mowing your lawns if you've got lawns, keeping your gardens. Actually, I remember when Cindy and I were living in a 3-storied 6-bedroom house that we thought, oh, this will be so much, like, it'd be awesome, it'd be so cool. And we were on 2 acres of landscape gardens, and it was just a nightmare. We ended up closing off half the rooms because we were never using them, and it would literally take 2 of us a full day to mow the lawn. And yeah, that wasn't fun. And I know that's extreme. That's a very extreme example. The other thing you've got to think about too is your utilities. Forgive my spelling, I've probably done it wrong. Please don't hammer me too hard. Go gentle. But your utilities, you know, you've got your annual rates, you've got your power bill, you've got, you know, you've got your phone on, you've got all these extra costs that come with a property. Now let's look at it another way. Say, for example, so we're saying the house price is $600,000. If you choose or try and find an alternative way to live where you can cut your living costs way down. Now I've mentioned, I think our living costs we've got down to about $200 a week. We can do it on less if we really need to. That doesn't include like maintenance on the bus. That's an extra, but that's so, you know, you've got your general maintenance, which we do. But apart from that, our cost of living for driving around New Zealand, food and that is around $200 a week. If we want to get out and do some crazy cool stuff, then obviously we spend a whole lot more. But imagine if you could get your cost of living that low and then you were able to put away, say, just under half. So what was I saying, $3,500 you'd be paying a month. So let's say, we'll flip it around the other way and you put away, so in savings, you could put away $1,667 a month. That's a month. I'll just write that there, a month. And you did that for the same 30-year period that you were paying your mortgage. So do this for 30 years. You would actually save $600,000. 600,000, yeah. So that wouldn't be too bad of a retirement fund. So I understand that giving up suburbia and finding an alternative way to live is not for everybody. This is mostly for people who are looking for another way to live. You know, we've created a life for ourselves now where we have a lot of free time. We're slowly building our income. We are putting ourselves in a position for a secure financial future, but not only a secure financial future. The reality is we don't know what's going to happen with the economy. You know, you've probably seen on the news about countries where the economy has completely collapsed and people have lost their superannuation or their life savings for their future, for their retirement. So we look at a very holistic view on finance and money and living. For us, it's not just about money. And so as these videos go on, subscribe, you know, jump onto our website. I'm going to start putting more and more information up there. And we just want to encourage people to sort of have a much broader view on life. So with all this information, it doesn't mean you all have to live in one of these. Let's see if I can... Okay, so we've chosen to live in a bus, driving, steering wheel. So we've all chosen to live in a bus. That's the life that we've chosen for ourselves, and I understand that that's not for everybody. It's definitely not for everybody, but there are so many alternative ways to live life, to save money, to do things differently, to remove stresses. You know, we talk to so many people that have sort of left school and jumped straight into a job, and then they've realised it's not really their dream or what they want to be doing. You know, unfortunately, we are kind of taught to follow a script, you know, to have the nice house, to have the nice car, to get a good job or a career. But obviously travelling, we just talk to hundreds and hundreds of people, and it still amazes me at how many we talk to that are not happy where they are in life. You know, they've got a good life, but they're just still looking for something more or a way to escape the rat race. You know, so hopefully these videos will encourage those of you who are looking for alternative ways. So yep, subscribe, find us on Facebook, just whatever, and we're just going to make this information more and more available, so then you can make an informed decision on how you wish to live your life.